was a time when your sensitivity felt like a curse, when you saw too much, felt too deeply, questioned too early. The world told you to toughen up, to play along, to stay asleep, because sleep makes you easier to manage. But you couldn't. You saw through the noise, through the masks, through the games people call normal life. And slowly, you began to drift away, not because you wanted to escape, but because you couldn't unsee what you'd seen. Carl Jung would say your awakening was inevitable. The moment you became conscious of your shadow, you were no longer compatible with unconscious living. You weren't losing people, you were losing illusions. And the more awake you became, the lonelier it got. Spiritually awake, souls don't vanish because they're weak. They disappear because the world is too loud for their frequency. They crave depth in a society that worships distraction. They seek truth in a culture that profits from confusion. They live slowly in a system built on speed. It's not that they don't belong here. It's that they see the machinery behind everything. The manipulation of desire, the addiction to validation, the performance of happiness. And once you see that, you can't pretend anymore. You start declining invitations that used to excite you. You start valuing silence more than noise. You start realizing that solitude isn't loneliness, it's clarity. And clarity is expensive, because when you begin to see truth, you automatically outgrow everything built on lies. Awake souls often vanish not into mountains or monasteries, but into the corners of their own rooms. They become quiet observers of chaos, moving through the world like ghosts who once believed in it. They stop arguing. They stop convincing. They simply watch, knowing that words rarely wake the sleeping. Jung said that true individuation, the process of becoming whole, requires separation from the collective. You must lose the world to find yourself. And so, the spiritually awake don't run away from society. They outgrow it. They choose meaning over noise, presence over performance, depth over validation. But this choice comes with grief, the grief of realizing how few people truly see. And yet, they wouldn't trade their vision for anything. Because blindness might be comfortable, but sight is liberation. If you've ever wondered why you feel distant, even when surrounded by people, this is why. You no longer crave what most crave. You no longer compete for attention, or chase approval, or explain your silence. You've stopped needing to be understood, because you've realized that understanding can't exist where consciousness hasn't yet arrived. And that's what separates the awake from the asleep. Not intelligence, but awareness. The awake see energy before behavior, intention before words, truth beneath performance. And because of that, their world becomes quieter, not emptier, just clearer. Carl Jung believed that loneliness is the tax we pay for consciousness. You don't fit in because you no longer need to. And the moment you accept that, the loneliness turns into peace. Most people aren't ready for the stillness you carry. It unnerves them. Your calmness, your lack of urgency, your refusal to play the game. They mistake your detachment for arrogance, not realizing it's actually freedom. You don't withdraw out of bitterness. You withdraw out of balance. Because once you've tasted inner peace, chaos tastes artificial. The modern world runs on overstimulation, endless opinions, endless scrolling, endless noise. But the awake have learned to move differently. They walk slower, speak softer, feel deeper. They understand that peace isn't the absence of conflict, it's the presence of awareness. And awareness changes everything. It turns consumption into discernment, reaction into reflection, and life into something sacred again. The irony is, the more awake you become, the less you want to talk about awakening, because you see that truth can't be taught, only remembered. You stop trying to wake people who still find comfort in dreaming. You stop preaching and start embodying. Your energy becomes your message. Your silence becomes your teaching. And people start to feel you rather than hear you. Jung said that enlightenment isn't about imagining light. It's about making the darkness conscious. So when you disappear from the world's chaos, you're not escaping it. You're integrating it. You're learning to carry both the light and the shadow without collapsing under either. And that balance, that quiet, invisible strength, is what the asleep mistake for distance. If you've been fading from the world, it's not a failure. It's a phase of transformation. You're shedding identities that were never yours. You're unlearning the noise, the masks, the roles. You're remembering what you were before the world told you who to be. This disappearance isn't an ending. It's a return. A return to authenticity, to simplicity, to presence. You're not vanishing, you're refining. And soon, you'll reappear, quieter, sharper, more aligned. The world won't recognize you, but the right ones will feel you immediately. Because light doesn't need introduction, it just reveals. And you've become light with edges. In the end, Jung would tell you this: to awaken is to remember that you were never meant to blend in. You were meant to see. You were meant to bring awareness where others bring noise. And if that journey cost you comfort, connection, or belonging, it's still worth it. Because the ones who vanish aren't gone. They're just walking where the world can't yet follow. They're building peace in silence, purpose in solitude, clarity in chaos. And one day when society grows quiet enough to listen, they'll return. Not to fit in, but to remind others of what they forgot. You are not disappearing, my friend. You are simply becoming too real for a world that worships illusion.